That's right. You guessed it. Recon 1 in the barn here just dropped the transfer case skid plate. And the reason I'm doing that is I purchased an Adams 1350 OEM flange style front drive shaft. So rather than mess around, obviously I want to be able to get at this output from the transfer case. So I'm going to take this apart and get that drive shaft off, undo the main nut that holds it, and try to tap that yoke off right there. So that's about it. I don't have the drive shaft in my possession yet, but it's inbound, and I know the Jeep's going to be sitting in the barn here for a while. You can see the output of the transfer case. Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous what you got to do to get at these. I don't have a 5/16 speed wrench. I've just got a conventional wrench, and I'm using the box, and it's doing it because there's actually not much corrosion on these bolts. I hit it with a little bit of oil. So they're coming out. It's just a tedious process, and then I turn the front drive shaft a little bit and just work my way around. So that's where I am right now. Then the drive shaft will be completely out. I just have one bolt right in there. And then I take that out, and then I can rotate the drive shaft to get at the other bolts coming out of the transfer case. All right, I'm down to the last few bolts. It'll be interesting to see. I might have to take a punch and hit this out. It'll be interesting to see if that comes out easy or not. But yeah, a little bit tedious here, laying on my back in the garage, but this is just a tough spot to get to. Be very, very happy to change this yoke out and get to the Adams. There it goes. Okay, just a few turns, a few taps, and that drive shaft came out. So, gonna pull that thing out. All right, there you go. A look at the Rubicon front drive shaft. You know, say what you want. This thing is still fine. Now, admittedly, for years I ran just the 2.5-inch suspension lift. And I ran the exhaust spacers, and this thing held up fine. Recently, as you know, I've increased my lift height to a 3.5-inch suspension lift, so most certainly it was going to put more strain on this Rosetta joint. The other thing that I noticed when we installed the lift was at full droop, the drive shaft was still hitting the crossover pipe of the exhaust. So it was time. So we've got, as I said, we've got a nice Adams 1350 drive shaft coming for this Jeep Rubicon. And I went with the flange style, so it'll mate right up, as you can see right there, to the yoke on the front differential. So today's job was to get this thing out. I'm going to, I think I'm going to take the yoke off the transfer case as well and have everything in the go position. Okay, there's the nut right there. I used an 1.25 inch socket, a whole bunch of extensions, and my impact gun, because I was able to come around this way and then bring the socket in and get that nut off. So now I'm going to try to get a rubber mallet and tap this yoke off the transfer case. Okay, just a few taps with the hammer, and here we go. A little bit of oil, but all in all, very nice. We'll get a rag on that, clean that up. And as I recall, I got to save the O-ring. There's a big O-ring in that yoke that I just took off. So let me get this cleaned up, and then we'll look at that. Just going to mention, I think I'll look at the directions, but there's a chance. See that little clip that holds the shifter cable in? there's a chance that after the new drive shaft goes in, that this little tip right here just might have to be cut 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch off of there. No big deal really, but there's a look at it. You can see the output of the transfer case right there. So this will be sitting in the go position right now until I get the new front drive shaft. Once again, an Adams 1350 front drive shaft with the OEM flange for the front. So it'll bolt right up to the yoke on my front differential. Okay, you can see that rubber O-ring. I'm going to use a pick tool and pull that out. You can see it right there. It's pretty thick. Maybe even a little better than 1/4 of an inch. But as I understand, that gets reused, so I'm just going to keep that O-ring right there. And there's a look at the stock yoke coming out of the transfer case, providing power to the front drive shaft. All right, I think that's it for today.